So have you noticed how many young Muslim women you see on TikTok or Insta or even YouTube? More and more people who we think are normal influencers are in fact escorts or have an OnlyFans account. Hello and welcome, my name is William. I am a researcher in sociology at the University of Warwick in the UK, and this is a video series about my latest book, Muslims in the Neoliberal Empire. How does the society colonize us and what can we do about it? If the person has an OnlyFans account, you check in the bio and you have this link tree, and when you click on it, you have a link to their OnlyFans. All these young women, sometimes they are wearing hijab, abaya, but you see pictures of them always alone in luxurious destinations. Like one day they're in Dubai, the next in the Maldives, wearing lots of designer accessories, and these kind of weird captions like dreaming about you, especially when they have a DM for collabs in their bio. Well, it's an escort. How does the family not find out? I mean, my wife has a theory. It's like, in our town, we have lots of uncles who do some dodgy stuff and everyone knows, but nobody talks about it. So she thinks, actually, the families, they know, but just nobody talks about it. So when I was doing research on Muslim influencers, I stumbled upon one of these TikTok accounts. It was someone wearing a hijab, but with very, very tight gym clothes. And I thought to myself, oh God, that's one of these influencers again. Like, where are they going to push the boundaries now? And then I realized that, her name is Alia Yassin. She's British Pakistani and she's a porn star. That's not your ordinary influencer. She's really open about it. Alia, she's not alone. You got some other people who are like British Bangladeshi who are into porn, and even more people who are into escorting and who do casual prostitution. She's open about being Muslim and using the hijab and desi clothing as, to tap into a niche market, which is mainly, white, male, orientalizing Muslims. I want to understand things. I'm not here to agree or disagree with her choices. I just want to understand what is her story. In my 15 plus years of research about Muslim influencers, most of them would pretend being extra religious, extra pious, and which, it's very particular to the UK. I've never noticed that from French Muslims, for example. Even, when it comes to the boys who, deal drugs, do money laundering, human trafficking.
Don't know, friends all around me. Big pimping, baby.
They, pretend to be super religious, big beard, the thobe, praying 5 times a day, mashallah, alhamdulillah, everything. Behind the scenes, they are the complete opposite. They post a picture of them with women in a bikini, and the next picture, they're in front of the Kaaba. How does it even work? I mean, the only one who is really, really transparent and honest about it is Frenzo Harami.
Done, yeah.
He's open about, dealing drugs, pimping women. He's been to prison 8 times, I think. He's open about it. He's not going to pretend he's a super religious figure. But Frenzo is also very interesting in the sense that he reveals the double standards the society has with men and women. He was featuring on every single Muslimic podcast, like Smile to Jannah, Blood Brothers, and so many of them. And everyone finds it normal. But when it's women doing harami things, people get so angry.
And people were like, your sin will never be forgiven.
Why is it that when Andrew Tate comes to Islam, it's, but he was promiscuous before, it's his past, forgive him, it's forgotten. They defend him till the death of him. But when it's the sister, people are telling her, why you will not be forgiven.
But I could also flip the question. Why did Frenzo Harami, convicted drug dealer and pimp, got onto Blood Brothers podcast, Mixed Grill, CEO Cast, and Smile to Jannah, but not Yasmina Khan or Alia Yassin, who are much more famous than him? All three are British, South Asian, Muslim, and work in the sex industry. What kind of double standards is that?
So why do these women receive the most horrendous forms of abuse from Muslims, and the same Muslims are going to praise someone like Frenzo Harami, who is basically a pimp? So he facilitates women going into prostitution. Lots of people forget the hadith about a prostitute who was forgiven because she gave water to a thirsty dog. But people have no understanding of personal circumstances, of society, and they're very quick to judge. And this probably, sadly, drives people away from the faith. Alia, we learn from what she posts on social media is that she was in an abusive marriage. Well, welcome to the club. She was overweight and struggling with her body image, where we know like being overweight can be a symptom of like many different things. It's not necessarily because of an unhealthy lifestyle. She was struggling very much with her mental health. And now she is very happy, doing porn and earning lots of money. And she has teamed up with her partner, who is her producer. So no pun intended, but I think she's in rather safe hands. I mean, I hope so. I found out about Alia much later after I completed my research, so I didn't have the opportunity to interview her. But, I always wonder in general, why do women become sex workers? If we look at US statistics, we see that 73% of women enter the sex trade to get drugs, whether illicit or medical. But 36% of women entered the trade to get basic necessities, such as food or housing. 17% entered the trade to support their children or family. It's often people who are at the bottom of the socio-economic ladder and do not want to fall into homelessness or just want to bring food on the table. Of course, I'm 100% sure there's a minority who do it because, either they're bored, they like it, or they just had the opportunity and they have no problems with it. Overall, the majority of women who enter the trade don't do it out of choice, but because this is the only way out from their condition. And usually, we're talking, when it comes to people at the bottom of the society, there's many compounding factors, whether it is domestic violence, whether it is health problems, whether it is just an unhealthy environment. Because, the sex industry, whether we talk about, big names in porn or basic prostitution, it comes with a lot of risks, a lot of challenges. This is an industry which is not regulated. This is an industry where most of sex workers face abuse from all ends. These are very precarious working conditions because you never know when the money is going to come, and sometimes it doesn't come automatically. People can stay for weeks or months without any income. It is also dangerous because your identity can be revealed. You can face violence from some clients, and not mentioning transmissible diseases. And some people do not have the opportunity to get into other kinds of job, whether it is, unqualified manual work, especially I'm thinking in the US, because if people, let's say, have a history of mental health, a criminal record, it's extremely difficult for them to be employed somewhere. But that's only the first layer of the problem. I would say let's dig deeper and ask ourselves, why is there sex work in the first place? So you've probably heard about the story in Leicester, and the main customers were uncles and young men, dozens of them, sometimes 40 per day, going to see prostitutes. And that highlights a problem which is universal to the whole of humanity. Why there is sex work in the first place? If there were no demand, there would be no offer. There would be no supply. Men wanting to have sex with prostitutes.
You're going to be greedy?
Oh, yes.
Okay. What are you going to do to me in that 2 minutes?
Well, you're about to find out. I'm just going to say, we're going to have fun.
Well, let's have some fun and see what he does. We're going to have fun.
Absolutely, yes.
Do you want to spend 2 minutes with me alone or double it and pass it to the next person? Ooh. So do you want to be nice to your family and give them longer with me, or are you going to be selfish and do 2 minutes?
Selfish.
Are you selfish? Yeah. And what would you do to me in 2 minutes? Tell me. Are you going to destroy me? I think we should put it to the test. Would you recommend me to a friend?
100,000,000%.
And what about to all your family members that are queuing out there?
Everybody, it's worth it.
Yeah?
It's worth the wait. You're extremely worth the wait. You're sexy as well.
Did you manage to destroy me though in those 2 minutes?
Not in the 2 minutes, but if I had longer with you, you get destroyed.
Exactly. He's going to come back and go again.
100%.
Thank you.
When it comes to sex work or criminality, people are very quick at blaming the main actors, so the prostitutes, the criminals, the gangsters. We need to remember that these are symptoms of other forces in the society? Do you think if everyone was given their sustenance, a stable work, stable accommodation, constant food on their table, do you think they would resort to these degrading or like highly risky professions? So I don't know anyone who's done research around Muslims and sex work, but I know someone, and I've met him in person, who's done work around Muslims and gangs in Bradford. His name is Mohammed Qasim. He wrote Young Muslim and Criminal, and he studies why do young Muslims join gangs in the UK. His main theory is that because they have no support from the society. The society doesn't give these young people job opportunities or the tools to, build a career, gain qualifications, and no support from their own families and Muslim community. The society fails them, their families fail them, the mosques, the imams, the elders. So they don't have the tools to navigate the society, to climb the socio-economic ladder, or just to escape their condition. Mohammed Qasim, and he paraphrases what they say, they feel in a state of siege. They can't see a way out. So what's the easy way out? They can see that, like, drugs and crime. Of course, they are responsible for their choices. And people would argue that perhaps they can search the internet about how to start a business, how to, get a career somewhere. But many fail because without knowledge, without support, how are you supposed to know where to start to search for these tools? And then, understandably, many gave up. One example in my family is one of my wife's cousin has a degree in aircraft engineering. He was working for a taxi dispatch center, and even after graduation thought that this is what he's gonna do for the rest of his life. My wife called him and offered him to coach him because she's, in student support. She knows how to help people build a decent CV, coach them for interviews. She revised his CV, coached him for job interviews, and boom, less than 2 weeks after that, he applied for a job for an aviation company and got a job as an engineer. So sometimes what people need is the right tools and support. So Alia Yassin is perhaps not choosing a trade that many people will approve, but we need to understand that such a decision is not made just in a whim. There is always a story behind. It's not these people who identify as Muslim and who choose these professions who should infuriate us. But what should infuriate us is how the society works and how communities lack solidarity. Why is religious education disconnected from people's lives and realities and real needs? Why there is no transmission of knowledge and mentoring within families? And instead of being furious, what can we do to fix it? And commenting online, big spoiler alert, is not gonna solve it. And the big elephant in the room, why can't men control their desires? Why can't men be satisfied with their spouses? Or if they can't find a spouse, why is there such a big marriage crisis? Why is it that men and women cannot find suitable partners very easily? And we can peel off layers and layers, but we need to make an effort in the right direction in the first place. I hope this video was useful. Thank you very much for watching, and again, take care of yourselves and each other.